So 5 days ago, YouTuber Nosy Boy did a video where he talked about the possibility and inevitability of a Disney platform fighter coming. He brought up the fact that we have several crossover games currently out and coming this year involving Disney characters. We have Dreamlight Valley, which recently came out, and we have the racing game coming out later this summer. Now, with all that said, why does he feel that this is evidence that a platforming game is coming, a platforming fighting game is coming? Well, it's real simple why he believes that. Again, these are various crossover games. And these are games that obviously don't need to come out, if Disney wasn't planning something bigger. And it seems that in his opinion, that might be the case. Now, last year, I did a tier list in June of last year where I talked about a Disney afternoon inspired style fighter, if you will. And this, of course, was off the heels of the Rescue Ranger film that came out, and during the end credits, we saw a poster that said, well, it wasn't just a poster, it was a billboard that said Disney Afternoon Fighter Fest or something like that, and it had all the Disney Afternoon characters, including the Rescue Rangers, on that billboard. Well, majority of the Disney Afternoon characters like Sunny and Cubby from Gummy Bears, Bonkers, you name it. So they had them on there. They even had Rebecca and Baloo and Kit from Tailspin. But basically the point is, I did a video, a live stream actually, where I listed off what shows and characters should be, in the game initially, right off the bat if it happens, as well as what could come later as DLC and what to avoid and stuff like that. And also what the rating I think it could have going forward. Now, with all that said, and how it relates to Nosy Boy's video and my reply to it, it's real simple. You see, I get where he's coming from. Because you see, what he did is he broke it down as to what characters he believes is going to initially be on the roster. Like, for example, you got to have Goofy, Mickey, and Donald right off the bat. He also pointed out that you got to have some of the more popular characters Disney has under the umbrella, has under the roof right now. Characters like, of course, Elsa from Frozen, Spider-Man because of Marvel, Darth Vader of Star Wars, Rhea from Star Wars, you name it. Buzz Lightyear from Pixar, Mike and Sully from Monsters, Inc., and so on. And he basically categorized them in a way that he feels Disney might do it as well. Like, he said, Mickey would be balanced. He said Elsa would be blaster. He said Mike and Sully would be like brawler, and so on. And I'll provide a link to the video at the end of this one so you guys can check it out if you're watching on YouTube. But yeah. He basically stated that he sees this initial group of characters that includes Stitch, it includes Jack Sparrow, it includes, like I said, Elsa, Mulan, Moana, I think, he's basically specifically saying that this roster of characters he has that you'll see in the video is what he sees right off the bat. And I don't disagree with him that this might be the roster they go with, because you want to have a balance and a representation of everything that's under the Disney Afternoon umbrella right now. Now, with that said, could this happen? Could this happen? Well, the reason he believes it could happen is because of the various crossover games Disney is being involved in this year, and going throughout this year, I should say. I mean, for example, I think it was late last year and going into this year, we had Dreamlight Valley, and then of course, later this summer we have the Disney racing game that they've been promoting. So with those games coming out as crossover games, and then of course beforehand, the one that I believe laid the foundation for these kind of games to happen, along with the likes of Kingdom Hearts, by extension, Disney Xfinity, he basically feels that there's enough evidence out there, for this to take place, for this fighting game, this platform fighting game to happen, to become a reality. Now, he brought up the fact that the reason he believes this is not just because of what we're seeing right now and what's coming and what we've seen in the past, but also because of the fact that it's got, I'm assuming, and he didn't say this specifically, he did not say this specifically, but it's almost like he feels that we're getting similar vibes to when Multiversus came out. Remember, and he even brought this up, Multiversus was supposed to be a surprise for folks. Nobody was supposed to know that that game was coming from Warner Brothers and Player One Games. Nobody. Except a leak came out, thus confirming that the game was coming, much to the annoyance of WB Games and Player One Games. Excuse me there. So, yeah, pretty much that leak gave away the fact that the game was coming and all that. And this, of course, is on the heels of Nickelodeon releasing their own fighting game, their own platforming fighting game, known as Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, which right now it's kind of rising up from the ashes a little bit. It's like kind of finally getting its groove once again. So he basically used that, and by extension All-Star Brawl and mostly Smash Brothers Ultimate in the Smash Brothers series as why he believes Disney is going to do this. Because Disney is the kind of people and the kind of company that does not want to be left out in the cold. They don't want to be, on the outside looking in while the competition is having fun with these platform crossover fighting games. So he believes that Disney inevitably, with all these crossover games that are currently out right now and coming, and have come out in some way, in shape and form in the past, he believes with the recent releases, and you look back on the past as well, that there is enough evidence there to say, yes, we are getting a platforming fighting game in the near future. But when it happens, when it's announced, is anybody's guess. I mean, we got E3 coming up. We got San Diego Comic-Con coming up. Those could be, opportunities to announce something like this happening. We have, I think, D3 coming up, maybe next year or maybe again this year. I'm not really sure. We got a variety of events taking place all across the globe where this could be announced if it was to happen. But, one thing he did bring up, was the fact that Disney has an enormous roster. They have a enormous roster of characters that they can work with. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong about that. They have a enormous roster of characters that they can work with without a shadow of a doubt. Again, he brought up an initial roster he feels will be, on the game right off the bat. And again, I'll provide the link to the video. You guys could check that out yourself. And I might even try to screen capture that so you guys could see it yourself as well. But he brought that up. And I don't disagree with the roster. I really don't. But if Disney is going to utilize this enormous roster that they have, if you will, if they're going to, hold on. Like I said, if they're going to use this enormous roster that Noisy Boy says they have, then you got to do more than just use that initial roster right off the bat. I mean, yes, the roster he shows off here is a great roster to work with. Don't get me wrong. It's a great starting roster. But as we have learned throughout the history of a lot of platforming fighting games, crossover or not, you got to include more to that roster. You got to grow that roster. And if what he says about Disney is true, and the fact that they want to basically out Nintendo in some areas, then the best way to do that is to basically use the roster that you have, an unlimited resource of. Use that roster to its zenith, if you will, to its abilities that you could utilize it for no matter what you place it around. So basically, to me, Disney has to grow that roster. It's like if they make the announcement and they use the roster that Noisy Boy, is stating could be the starting roster to kind of give us an introduction as to what to expect, character-wise right off the bat, especially if you want to do a beta version, for people to test out with, then that's fine. But over time, as you're building the game and you're making it more of a reality, you want to make announcements throughout the duration of that game, through Twitter, through Facebook, and so on. You want to make that announcement that, yes, there's more coming. Because when you look at Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, the Trinity, as people call them, you cannot have Mickey, Donald, and Goofy without Minnie, Daisy, and Clarabelle. You cannot have that. So you got to have Minnie, Daisy, and Clarabelle in there. And I guarantee you, if they're not announced, at the start as part of the initial roster, that's going to be part of a beta version and all that down the line. If they're not, made part of the initial announcement, then there's no doubt they'll be made part of the upcoming announcements throughout the duration and build of the game, where basically developers are keeping in contact with the fans, letting them know, hey, this is who's coming, that's who's coming, da-da-da. That throughout the weeks, you'll get announcements of Minnie Mouse is showing up, Daisy Duck showing up, Clarabelle Cow showing up, and so on. And so on. And if they really want to make a fighting game, a platforming fighting game that rivals Nintendo and Smash Bros. Ultimate, that outdoes Multiversus, that basically puts, All-Star Brawls, Nickelodeon straight into the ground 12 feet under, not 6 feet, but 12 feet under, they need to really, amplify and utilize that roster to its zenith, to its up-teens potential. And that is a fact. That is a fact that they know at Disney, if they're doing this, if they are planning for it, they know needs to become a reality no matter what the situation. No matter what. So, for example, you really want to, create a roster that people are going to enjoy utilizing time after time after time. Again, you don't just use the initial roster. He's saying and believes it could be, the starting roster right off the back, or at least the roster to, get you drooling for more and basically be part of the beta version or whatever. No. Disney would need to add the likes of Minnie, Daisy, Clarabelle, that's one. And to complement Elsa, you put Elsa in there, you need to have Anna. Okay? You also need to have from Zootopia, because Zootopia is a big thing. That is a huge, popular IP. So for Zootopia, of course, you got to have Judy and Nick. You got to have Judy and Nick, as well as, if I want to surprise people, I put in Gazelle, honestly. So you have Judy, Nick, and Gazelle right off the bat, okay? That's what you do. And then to really dive deep, I would say incorporate some of your Disney Channel shows. Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Gravity Falls, use characters from the Owl House, you name it. Moon Girl and what was it? The new Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, whatever his name is. Use that. Use characters from there. At least the characters people are expecting. Like with Gravity Fall, of course you got to have Mabel, Dipper, and Wendy. You got to have those three. You got to have those three from a good guy perspective, and a villainous perspective. Of course, you got to have Mr. Chipper, or whatever his name is. Our House, of course, you got to have Luz. You got to have Luz and the girl she's in love with, and you got to have the Owl Lady herself. I can't think of her name right now, but you got to have them. Amphibia, you got to have her. You got to have the main girl from Amphibia there, along with her friends and some of the frogs. You got to have them. Again, the roster is undeniable that Disney has, even with their Disney shows. Kim Possible, you get Kim in there, Ron in there, Shigo. Come on. Possibilities are endless. And then you really want to make this the ultimate platforming game that doesn't need a sequel, doesn't need a sequel in the future, I should say, physical or digital, but it's just its own standalone game like AEW is planning for Fight Forever. then you basically constantly update it with more characters. DLC after DLC after DLC after DLC. I mean, why do you think Smash Brothers Ultimate right now, why do you think Ultimate is one of the best-selling platforming games right now? Because they constantly have updated it, with more fighter packs and more fighters than I think anybody expected. I mean, nobody expected Fatal Fury's Terry in there. Nobody expected Ken in there from Street Fighter. Of course, with Ryu, you got to have him, but still, nobody expected that. Nobody expected it. Joker from Persona 5. Nobody expected that. The point is what made Ultimate so special, to the point that Nintendo does not have to bring out another Smash Brothers game for who knows how long, even if it is on the Switch, it's because they constantly update it and update it and update it with fighters, events, trophies, special abilities, you name it. And what Noisy Boy is looking at here, and I agree with him, is Disney has a roster that they can constantly, with a one and done release of this game, physical and digital, can constantly update time after time after time with patches, along with of course with the occasional patches and all that, but update time and time again with fighter after fighter after fighter after fighter after fighter, ability after ability after ability, stage after stage after stage. They can constantly update. I mean, how do you think, despite the fact that it didn't do so good in the box office, how do you think people felt when they saw that whole collage of Disney princesses with Vanellope? I mean, come on, seriously. That was a moment in time. And that right there is an example of what could happen. It is. Speaking of Vanellope, you have her and Ralph and Fix-It Felix, if you will, from the Wreck-It Ralph series and everything, along with, Sergeant Calhoun. I mean, come on, you got a roster of fighters right there that, basically what's the word I'm looking for? Basically fulfill all the categories you need. Balance, brawler, blaster, rushdown. I mean, seriously, it has it all. It has it all with those four, I should say, right off the bat. No doubt. With those four right off the bat. The point I'm getting at is I do agree, Disney, has an unlimited resource, I should say, not ability, but resource of characters under the belt. They really do. Star Wars, you can go old school with Star Wars like they did with Infinity. And, I mean, oh my God, Luke, Leia, Han. I mean, come on. Yoda. I mean, you got to add Darth Vader as part of the initial roster. You got to add them. Marvel, you got the Guardians. You got X-Men. I mean, he mentioned Wolverine. Of course, he brought in Spider-Man. Has to be there right off the bat. But Spider-Man I guess if they can get if they can make a deal happen, Spider-Gwen. I mean, come on. The possibilities are endless. Venom. I mean, come on. Possibilities are endless. Carnage. Whoo! I can be here all day. Iron Man, of course, they put in there. Black Widow. She-Hulk. Nova, if you will. What's the other character? Okay, I just had to get an answer from one of my devices here. But yeah, you got Gamora in there, Nova, I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, of the Marvel characters they have. Not just from a film rights perspective, but comic book, animation. I mean, again, it's endless. It is endless. And then, of course, what I grew up on, the Disney Afternoon, which has been making a comeback thanks to DuckTales 2017. I mean, gummy bears? I mean, come on. You got balance. You could use balance for some of them. You could use rushdown for some of them. You could use brawler. I mean, Cubby and Sunny, balance, no doubt. Gruffy, I could see being a bit of a brawler. Tummy, I could see being a brawler. Zummy, a blaster. Grammy, I could see being maybe a rushdown, because, she would use a, spoon, a little wooden spoon, Yaddlin, whatever it is. She would use that. So I could see that. Calvin and Kala, balanced, there's no doubt. And then you get over the DuckTales. You can use, and you can alterate. Hey, this is an opportunity to alterate between past and present DuckTales. You want to put Webby in there? You could have the player select either modern Webby or classic Webby. And they would fit everything perfectly there. Any category you need, they would fit. Rescue Rangers. Rescue Rangers, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You brought them back with the movie. They came back in the DuckTales thing. Gadget is as popular as she's ever been, as I've mentioned before. Heck, I got 12 viewerships. Well, not viewership, but 12 listenings, if you will. I wouldn't say listens, but basically 12 viewerships so far in the short time it's been on my podcast. Courtesy of Spotify and Anchor and all the other platforms. Gadget is as popular as ever. I mean, the Rescue Rangers are perfect. I mean, Chip and Dale, balance, obviously. Gadget, I think, could be more either Rushdown or Blaster because of what she brings to the table inventive-wise. Monterey Jack, you can make him a brawler. Zipper, I think, could be Rushdown if you wanted to use him. Or heck, you could package him and Monterey as Brawler Rushdown and alternate. That's something that could happen. And then you look at Tailspin. Tailspin, you got Baloo, Brawler, Rebecca, Balance, Kit. I could look at as being Rushdown or Blaster. Don Carnage. I mean, the list goes on. Wildcat could be put in as, Balance maybe. But again, the rush goes on. Louie, if you want to put him in there, could be, could be rushed. Not Rushdown, but Brawler, if you will. So there's a lot of possibilities. There is. There's a lot of possibilities. Darkwing Duck. Darkwing could be a Blaster. Goslin could be balanced. Goof Troop. Let's see. Goofy. Well, you can keep him the way he is, but you can add his Goof Troop. Interior. What was it? Attire. His Goof Troop attire. You could add that as an alternate, way to play him. But then Pete, you got to add Pete. He'd be a brawler, like Goofy. Peg, I think. Obviously, Peg has to be balanced. I think she'd be perfect balance. Max, I think, has to be Rushdown. Roxanne, if you want to extend into Goofy movie territory, Roxanne, I think, would be balanced. I mean, the list is endless. The list, again, is totally endless. And then we get to Bonkers. Bonkers, I think, is balanced. There's no doubt. You can look at him as balanced or even Rushdown, the way he is. But Bonkers, I think, would be great. You want to add in Lucky Paquel, maybe? Miranda Wright. Lucky, I think, would be Brawler. Miranda, I think, would be balanced. Fondier, if you want to bring Fondier in, she would be. I think she would be more of a, just by her design, I think they may say Rushdown with her. Striker, Rushdown, whatever you want to call her, fighter. I think they'd be perfect with her on that. And then Aladdin, if you want to add Aladdin in. Aladdin, I think, would be, I think he'd be Rushdown. Jasmine, I think, would be balanced. Genie, I think, could be Brawler and all that. Be perfect there. Jafar, from the villain side, you can make him Blaster. Gargoyles, oh my gosh, you got the pick of the litter there. Goliath, Brawler. Elisa Maza, balanced. Demona, Blaster, if you want to. Brooklyn, balanced. Lexington, Rushdown. Broadway, Brawler. Angela, balanced. The list is endless. Hudson, Brawler. Come on. Xanatos, balanced. Come on. They fill in all the categories you need. They really do. And if you want to go beyond that, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hercules, the animated series, and as well as the movie, come on, seriously. You got your pick of the litter there. Hercules, Brawler. Meg, balanced. What's her name? The girl that Icarus is in love with in Hercules. I think would be Blaster. Hercules, flight. Rushdown, flight, if you will. Perfect. Absolutely perfect there. And then you want to get further. 101 Dalmatians, the animated series. Not the movie, but the series. You can add in Perdita and Pongo. Perfect. That's fine. You can balance them out, however you want to make that work. But then, let's look at Lucky, Catpick, Rolly, Spot. Lucky, balanced. Catpick, Rushdown, Rolly, Brawler. Spot, balanced. Balanced, if you will. Oh, Rushdown. No, Spot would be Rushdown. So, Lucky, balanced. Catpick, Rushdown. Rolly, Rolly, Brawler. Spot, Rushdown. And then if you add in and incorporate some of the other characters, Two-Tone, I think would be balanced. She would be balanced. Mooch, I think would be Striker, Rushdown. So, again, I can go on forever. Mighty Ducks, the animated series of Mighty Ducks. Oh my gosh. Each and every one of them could be a Blaster variant. But I see Wild Wing, Balance, Mallory, Blaster. Well, actually, I see, let me correct myself. Wild Wing, Balance, Mallory, Rushdown, Striker. Tanya, and Nosedive. You could put them as Blasters. Grin as Brawler. You could put Duke LaRange as Rushdown. Oh my gosh. I got to give credit to Noisy Boy. He's got me going here, man. He's got me going here in this response. But, man, just listing them off in the categories they could fulfill. It is endless, my friends. It is endless. Endless. And then again, you incorporate what I've mentioned. Kim Possible, Ron Stoppable, all the Disney shows that have come after us. Oh, my gosh. Come on. And then you're having characters that are now back into Disney's under Disney's house again, like Oswald the Lucky Rabbit and his girlfriend. Oh my gosh! You got characters from Atlantis, the Lost Empire. Come on, Milo and what's her name, Kavita? Come on. And then what? See, I'm looking at my movies right here. You got Lion King characters: Timon, Pumbaa, Simba, Nala, Kovu. Kiara, come on. You got the characters from the Lion Guard. Come on. The list is just endless. And then you got a lot of the new movies too. Like I said, Nick Wilde and Judy Zootopia, Wreck-It Ralph characters, Raya and the Last Dragon, Raya herself and the Dragon Girl, whatever her name is. Perfect. Inside Out. Oh my gosh. The characters you can utilize there. Joy, sadness, anger, disgust, fear. The list is endless. It is endless. I cannot say any more than that. I can't. What else do we have here? Encanto, it came out, about a year or two ago? Oh my gosh. The characters there, Larissa, Brawler, Maribel, balanced. Her sister, Isabella, Blaster, or Rushdown. Oh my, come on. I could be here all day. I can't be, but I can be all day. And of course you got the Incredibles, they all pretty much factor in and fulfill all the categories you need. Brawler for Mr. Incredible, balanced or Rushdown for Mrs. Incredible, Blaster for Violet, Rushdown, Striker for Dash. Come on, Frozone, Blaster, come on. It's like you cannot. It's crazy. It is crazy, The point I'm getting at, and then of course you got your classic characters like Cinderella, Pinocchio, Snow White, the Disney interpretations, that is, Bambi, Sleeping Beauty, Robin Hood, Ariel, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Belle and Beast. You know, again, I'm into Aladdin, Pocahontas, the Disney version, Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney version, Tarzan, the Disney version, the characters of Emperor's New Groove, Tangle, Rapunzel, and what? Hold on. I mean, Rapunzel and Flynn Rider. I mean, come on. Frozen, like I said, Elsa, of course, and then Anna, Christopherson, Olaf. I mean, the list just is endless, guys, of characters Disney has. And Noisy Boy is right. They have an unlimited roster they could build from. And their platform fighting game, released physically or digitally, is a one and done. They don't have to bring out any more, as I mentioned earlier. They would not have to bring out any more physical, sequels or spin-offs or whatever. This would be a one-and-done release that would be constantly updated DLC-wise with patches, stages, and mostly the characters I've mentioned, for the longest time until Disney gets sick and tired of it. But as long as it's making a profit and Disney is raking in the money and everything, which I have no doubt they would, I don't think they're going to stop. I don't think they'll stop. They will go to the bottom of the barrel, just to continue making this game better than what it would be. I mean, again, if Nintendo can do it with Smash and get the license to incorporate certain characters from other franchises, other, studios and everything into the game, then Disney, with ownership of all this, oh my God. You talk about wanting to turn a profit in the right direction, this would do it. This, in my opinion, would do it. But yeah, I got to give credit to Noisy Boy for doing the video first and really just getting me hyped up and talking about this and the possibilities. Got to give you credit, Noisy Boy. You did it, man. You did it. You got me excited about this and all that. Just as excited as I was when I did the Disney Afternoon Fighter tier list I did last June, which I'll provide a link, like I said, at the end here, if you're watching on YouTube. But guys, he is right. Disney has the opportunity in front of them. If his theory and his speculation, his theory and conspiracy, of what he sees going on becomes reality, that Dreamlight Valley, the upcoming racing game, and what we've seen before is any hint, an indication of what Disney's planning to do, what they have in store from a bigger perspective, then I'm all for it. I do agree. We will get, probably within the next years or so, next couple of years, not only the announcement of a Disney platforming fighting game, but we will get a release of it physically and digitally, and I would not be surprised if they say it's going to be a one-and-done release that will never need a physical or digital sequel, that it will always constantly be updated time and time again. Because again, like I said, if AEW, All Elite Wrestling, is planning to do that for Fight Forever for the time being, their game, when it comes out, then obviously Disney, with the unlimited resources, the unlimited roster of characters, will do the same thing, probably a lot longer than Fight Forever could. But let me know what your thoughts are. I'll provide a link, like I said, to Noisy Boy's video at the end here, at the end screen. But let me know what your thoughts are. What are your thoughts on the possibility that, with Dreamlight Valley out, with the racing game coming, with everything we've seen in the past with Kingdom Hearts and Infinity, and what we could potentially see in the future, do you think Disney is setting us up for the announcement of a major platforming fighting game? Do you think that's what Disney is doing? Let me know down below in the comments as well as in live chat during the premiere. Like the video, you will get an audio podcast version of this at BW Rosas Discussions, all your audio podcast platforms except for Pandora. You will also you can also, support me at patreon.com/BWRoses with $1, $3 here. Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2, Cash App at BWRoses98. Also check out the Teespring store by clicking the upper left-hand corner if you're watching on YouTube to check out merchandise you can't get anywhere else. Also support me on Venmo at BWRoses for content you can't get here on YouTube due to copyright reasons and other reasons. Also support me at DeviantArt.com at BVW1979 for stuff there as well. But guys, give me your thoughts. How do you feel about it? Do you think Noisy Boy is onto something? And does it get you hyped just as it got me hyped doing this audio video podcast, it is, of what the potential of a Disney platform fighter could bring? Let me know down below and in the live chat. And until next time, I am out.